Nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, so we can rest medicine, darling. I said, I'll stick with my time capsules. I'm still coughing, aching, feverish, wide awake. Sleeping Beauty took NyQuil. When she's right, she's right.
NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, so you can rest medicine.
Hi, I'm Royal Ornelas, Director of the Office of Minority Business Opportunity. This past fiscal year, the City of Dallas awarded approximately $6 million to minority and women-owned businesses. If you're interested in obtaining information about doing business with the City of Dallas, please call the Office of Minority Business Opportunity at 670-3346.
Next, Channel 4 News, recorded earlier this evening as a special service for our late-night viewers.
News 4, Dallas-Fort Worth, with Chip Moody, Clarice Tinsley, Wayne Shattuck, and Paul Crane.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us. Our top story tonight is from Grenada. Military commanders there this evening say their mission on that Caribbean island has now been accomplished. The American forces, which landed a week ago Tuesday to rescue U.S. citizens and restore democracy, today began moving men and equipment off the island. They also began moving foreign diplomats who are no longer welcome on Grenada, Libyans, for instance. The Soviet ambassador was also ordered to leave. Grenada's Governor General congratulated American military leaders for ousting the revolutionary regime which had seized control of his island.
We are most grateful to the American government and people for the part they have played in all this.
But as U.S. troops lined up to go home, a Semitic controversy erupted over exactly what happened in Grenada. As you may recall, when President Reagan announced the military action last week, he called it an invasion.
But today he got mad at reporters for using that same term. The comment came after Mr. Reagan was asked if our invasion of Grenada could be compared with the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan.
Oh, for heaven's sake, anyone who would link Afghanistan to this operation, and incidentally, I know your frequent use of the word invasion, this was a rescue mission.
The president praised American soldiers who died in Grenada, calling them heroes of freedom. Heavy tank and artillery fire rained down today on PLO leader Yasser Arafat's last Mideast strongholds, 2 refugee camps in northern Lebanon. Fighting raged from early morning into the night. At least 60 Palestinians were killed, more than 100 wounded. Arafat says Syria spearheaded the attacks, and tonight he is urging Syrian President Assad to personally intervene to stop the fighting. Chip?
A major spy story is breaking tonight over on the East Coast. An East German physicist has been arrested on espionage charges while attending a scientific conference in Boston. The physicist, called Alfred Zehe, is accused of setting up and culminating a deal to buy pictures of classified military documents from a civilian Navy employee. The employee, however, informed the FBI and then followed through with the plan, handing over some non-sensitive material. A nuclear-powered Soviet attack submarine has apparently developed some sort of mechanical troubles and has surfaced about 470 miles off the coast of South Carolina. The crippled submarine was spotted by Navy pilots on routine anti-submarine patrol. The Soviet sub is moving at a speed of only about 2 knots. So far, it has not issued a distress signal. The submarine is from the Victor I class of Soviet subs and usually carries a crew of about 90.
The proposed sale of the Washington Place housing project has long been controversial in Dallas, but today it went well beyond the borders of Texas. It set off fireworks in the nation's capital and sparked charges that the Reagan administration is trying to do away with public housing. Channel 4's Richard Ray has the story.
Washington Place has become a virtual ghost town. Only 71 families are left where once there were more than 300. Its sale had been in the works, nearby Baylor Hospital agreeing to pay more than $9 million to the Dallas Housing Authority. But last week the sale fell through, largely because of conditions imposed by federal officials. And today Texas Democrats demanded some answers from HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development.
My principal purpose for requesting this hearing is to make sure that it is not our nation's housing policy to coerce local officials to abandon low-income housing units rather than devote the necessary funds to make them safe and habitable.
Dallas officials say they canceled the sale of Washington Place because HUD wouldn't approve it, unless DHA agreed to close 1,000 low-income units in West Dallas. Congressman John Bryant contends it's part of a move by the Reagan administration to dispose of public housing nationwide at a time when the need for it is growing.
The Reagan administration should not be allowed to reduce the inventory of public housing by seizing upon the desire of some community leaders to sell Washington Place to Baylor Hospital. The fair thing to do would be to say we're going to have the same number of public housing units after the sale as we had before the sale.
HUD officials backed off. They say they won't seek to close any public housing units in Dallas after all. Now DHA must decide again whether to sell Washington Place, and if so, how to replace it. Most residents here want the city to renovate, not sell. There's already a long waiting list for public housing, and they're worried about where they'd go. For now, the sale of Washington Place is off. City officials say they will study their options, and there's been some talk that a contract could be negotiated within a month. But the people who live here would like some assurances. How will the money be spent, and where will they be relocated? I'm Richard Ray, News 4, Dallas.
And next on News 4 tonight, another Democrat enters the presidential race.
And from San Antonio, new developments tonight in the case of mystery infant deaths.
Next on Barney Miller, a gay fights for his son.
Deserves a father.
I deserve a husband. We can't have everything, can we?
That's it. Let it out.
Look, you are a policeman. You deal with these people all the time. You know how they are.
I'm gay. I heard a lot about you.
That is the best you could do.
I was hoping we could be friends.
Barney Miller, tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 on Channel 4.
Do you want a high return from a small investment? Hello, I'm Terry Fritz, president of the Dallas Chamber of Commerce. Many Dallas businesses send employee volunteers once a week to a Dallas public school. Those few hours make a big difference for years in the future of a child. Whether you're an individual or a major corporation, check it out. Volunteering pays big dividends in goodwill and in good results. The Dallas Chamber believes that business volunteers are Dallas's natural resource. Call 824-1620 and volunteer today.
1 year ago, on her 6th birthday, Kathy made a secret wish, but it didn't come true. So today, Kathy will wish it again. For the past 2 years, her father has sexually abused her, and she prays and wishes it will finally stop today. If you're abusing a child or want to report suspected abuse, call 1-800-4A-CHILD. Ask for the free booklet, Child Abuse and You.
More disturbing questions have arisen in the San Antonio investigation of suspicious infant deaths. Today, Bexar County District Attorney Sam Millsap filed a contempt of court motion accusing a medical school dean of withholding subpoenaed documents. Millsap says documents pertinent to the investigation at Medical Center Hospital were subpoenaed from Dr. Marvin Dunn last March. But the DA found out early this week that some of the documents subpoenaed were not turned over to the grand jury.
Our information at this point is that those documents were withheld intentionally, that when the decision was made to withhold those documents, it was done after the person involved had sought and obtained the advice of his lawyers.
Dr. Dunn must appear at a hearing next Tuesday. Testimony began today in the armed robbery trial of former E-Systems engineer Anthony Williams.
Williams, a 25-year-old black man, claims racism and a case of mistaken identity are behind his arrest. Williams says he was home the night this Garland convenience store was held up. But Lila Baggett, the store clerk, says it was Williams who robbed her at gunpoint that night in August of last year. Mrs. Baggett identified Williams from 2 photographs and a police lineup. But Williams' attorneys say Greenville police are using Williams and his former roommate, Linnell Jeter, to clear up 24 similar robberies. Jeter has already been tried and is serving a life sentence for a crime he also says he didn't commit.
Jeter was convicted of holding up this Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant in Balch Springs last year and getting away with $615. 5 eyewitnesses said he did it, but his co-workers at E-Systems in Greenville say he was at work at the time of the robbery. Neither the gun nor the money has been found. At the time of his arrest, Jeter was earning $24,000 a year as an engineer at E-System. His supervisor says Jeter couldn't have held up the restaurant.